Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A long time ago, when I was in the process of gathering my information for foreign policy, let's put it mildly, I was under the wrong impression, or I assessed the world and the world being the leaders, the guys in charge of us, in a very poor way. My assessment was poor. I'm not going to go into why, but it was based on ignorance. That with time, I think I remediated that, and I learned more about who they are. And I realized they're just like us, or in most instances, worse than us, with certain kind of traits of character that we are taught in our families, by the school, by the movies, that are wrong. They're not qualities, they're defects. And yes, they argue the same way children argue in the kindergarten or in first graders. They call themselves fat, ugly, short-dicked, or whatever, We have here a little argument that occurred between Annalena Baerbock, I would call her, based on her statements, an infantile foreign minister of used to be great country of Germany, and Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of the Jewish state Israel, where they had a little spat. Now, Annalena, she's upset, actually she's angry over the reports that she got yelled by Mr. Netanyahu. And she said that they are misleading, the reports. Not that they're untrue. It's just misleading. That means the interpretation is just wrong. Well, let me give you two articles with details on what happened when Netanyahu met Baerbock, or Baerbock visited Netanyahu in the middle of the night. And we'll figure out how much you believe in that and how much I believe that happened, or what I think it happened. And remember, in an argument, when you don't have arguments, usually, feeble-minded people or children. Yes, children are still, in the development stage. For that, look for a Piaget, right? The 5 stages of development. I think it is in the child's. I got something here, and it's not from this time. I will let you know. All right, so it's just from feeble-minded people who, just get into ad hominem attack on the person. Like, hey, you're fat, you're ugly, you suck this, you do that, instead of focusing on the issue. When they have no more arguments, they turn into that. That's exactly what Netanyahu, according to the reports, said. He did, actually. He attacked Baerbock's. I would say he made a parallelism between the Nazis, and that's what you do. That's why they're not different than the neighborhood low-lives quarrels or arguments. Let me start with this article. DPA International. Let me put my binoculars here. Germany's Baerbock angry over TV report about Raw with Netanyahu. No, you got smacked around. That's my feeling. Why? Because I know she's dumb. And Netanyahu is not dumb. Netanyahu is very smart. Now we talk about different traits of character, but he is smart. She is not. Based on her statements, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock has expressed her anger. My pussy hurts. From what? From a pounding? And reports that she had a row with Israeli Prime Minister, but he's not angry. I didn't read any article saying that Netanyahu is angry. Why is that? Only she is angry. And it was the raw. Like raw. Didn't wait for it. Okay? So she's angry. That means it was not a raw. It was a smackdown. Because he's not angry. Why should he be? Because the mass media portrays the situation like it was not a row, but he smacked her around, okay? Let me show you. How can you, Annalena, unless you're a retard, and she's not. She's just an immature infantile. She's not a retard. All right, so how can you go in the middle of your boss's tower and tell the boss, Netanyahu, that actually it's not true? And Netanyahu said, say what? Bitch, come over here. What the fuck is over here? Huh? And then turn around. I don't know if they're allowed because she's a, how do you call it? Shiksta, whatever she is. We know shit. Let's move on. And I'm quoting, and it was here. Anger at reports that she had a row with Israeli Prime Minister over the living conditions of Palestinians in Gaza. And I'm quoting, my office and the German ambassador in Israel have already addressed this, Baerbock said while in Italy for a meeting of the group of 7 major industrialized democracies. And I'm quoting, you see, now there's no more industrial countries. Now it's, now. I noticed that maybe 2 months ago, they changed from industrialized countries into industrialized democracies. Why? Because they want to exclude, obviously, China or India or whomever, or Russia. They're not industrial. They're not democracies. Like, for instance, ask the Canadians how their democracy works, and then you come and tell me, okay? Ask those guys. Hey, Canadians, how is Trudeau doing? Is he still with his little drama dancing fuck? Huh? Is he still wearing obviously, this is just a joke, but that's what kind of democracy these guys have. It's very strange. Not to compare it with Biden. Look what we've got. A semi... hey, people voted for that. Can you believe that? That tells you a lot of baboons. Okay, we have been told that they regret the publication, the source of which is unclear, and we have nothing further to add. They regret. Now, you regret because you got caught, you regret because you got spoken to, or you regret because you lied, or you got caught. Which one is it? Because when you see these guys, politicians usually come and they apologize. I apologize for doing this. If they wouldn't have been caught, no apologies. That means they didn't regret shit. They regret because they got caught, and now they have to face negative consequences. If the same here, the publication doesn't regret publishing it, because right now I'm reporting on that. They regret it. They draw attention of this infantile and its department. Now right here, a journalist from the Israeli TV station Channel 13 had reported that a heated argument erupted after Baerbock objected. Well, the heated argument was Netanyahu slapping her around and yelling at her. Objected to being shown Israeli government photos that positively depicted conditions in Gaza Strip. And I'm quoting the German ambassador to Israel, Stefan Seibert. Hey Seibert. You're German, right? Yes. Jawohl. Was in contact with the Prime Minister's staff and made it clear that we think of such distorted reports, what we think about distorted. And I'm quoting, we are not commenting about confidential talks. It's not confidential. Did you got smacked? Yeah. Now, earlier on Friday, both the Foreign Office of Berlin and Seibert described reports of an argument between Baerbock and Netanyahu on Wednesday as misleading and claimed the key points of the reports about the hour-long meeting are incorrect. All right? So only the Foreign Office in Berlin and Seibert, not Netanyahu. They didn't say shit. They agree with it. The Foreign Office did not specify. Okay, what happened here? Moriah Asraf Voldberg, the Israeli TV station's diplomatic correspondent, reported that Baerbock responded to the Israeli footage from the Gaza Strip depicting markets filled with food by offering to show Netanyahu pictures of starving children on her cell phone. Oy vey. And then Netanyahu said, who the fuck pays you, bitch? You're gonna be fired. You're fired. Guarantee you she's out. Guarantee you this was her last goodbye. Netanyahu reportedly replied that she should look at the photos of the markets and also of people on the beach in Gaza, as there were no cases of hunger there. I'm not going to discuss that. According to the Channel 13 report, Baerbock advised him not to show the pictures as they did not correspond to the reality in the Gaza Strip. Now you think that maybe she is just a defender of those guys. No, she's not. She was just got in a personal argument of I'm right, you're wrong. She didn't support, oh, now all the Palestinians are going to be, oh yeah, look, Baerbock is our champion. No, she is going to, I tell you what's going to happen next. But she's not a champion. She got in an argument with him not because of you, because she felt personally insulted. It was a personal thing. Not because of you, I guarantee you that. You know why? Because in the near future, we're going to hear two things. One, Baerbock apologizing somehow for even bringing that up. It's not going to be an apology. I'm sorry. Here it is. My pants are down. No, not like that. You're going to say, well, maybe it was undiplomatic or insensitive to tell Netanyahu that I got it's true what he said, blah, 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 blah. But, she's going to try to save face. That's the first one is going to happen. And the second one, she's going to be removed. And I think she's going to be removed. But maybe not. You know why not? Because Netanyahu, these guys want to remove him. He's not welcomed in his group. I don't know what he didn't do. Netanyahu has negative press, and his buddies in New York and Florida want him out. That means he didn't fail on doing something. I mean, he didn't do something. He was supposed to, and he didn't. That's the problem. What that is, we're gonna find out. Netanyahu, in turn, is said to have loudly replied, and that's the euphemism for that's what exactly happened. That the photos, and here is where the shaming comes in place. Right here. Netanyahu, in turn, is said to have loudly replied, he yelled at her, that the photos were real and that Israel was not showing an invented reality like the Nazis. Who were the Nazis? Baerbock's ancestors, right? Some of them. In 1942, for example, the Nazis had a film, crew shoot a propaganda film with the scenes of everyday life in the West Warsaw Ghetto, where the Jews were forced to live in abysmal conditions. Got that? Got that? So, when I have no argument, I will try to attack you and destroy you, in other way, shame you. So, for instance, I don't know if that happened, but I heard that kind of argument between others. When they got in a conversation, they start to use stink. You have a small dick. You have things like this. That's exactly what they try to shame one another. Did she come back with anything? Saying, yeah, but Netanyahu, let me tell you your history about what you did. No, she didn't dare to say that. Why? She knows. She realized she went too far. It's like she already jumped off a cliff. Like in those cartoons, and then fall down like how was that, Roadrunner with the coyote? That's one of my favorite, actually. My favorite coyote is my favorite guy over there. He always loses, but he's very inventive. When he's always trying to blow up the Roadrunner and then he always gets fucked. He's very, I want to fuck him. That's my favorite, that guy, the coyote. So, that's one article. Let's go to the second one, which is related, obviously, with the first one. German Foreign Office says report of spot. That was not a spot. With Netanyahu misleading, end quote. Now, he smacked her. I guarantee you that. I'm gonna go. Key points in this account of the long-hour meeting between Mr. Bibi Seibert, the German Seibert, and Netanyahu, in turn, is said to have loudly replied that the photos were real. How loudly replied? Isn't it nice? And again, shaming her. He could have used Netanyahu, he could have used, for instance, how the Soviets, his buddies, portrayed certain things. No? Like, for instance, the Holodomor. Kaganovich, sounds familiar? All right, so not only Kaganovich, but Yogoda, sounds familiar? But he didn't. He applied that exactly to her. Why? Because he knows that she should feel guilty somehow. She should not feel guilty whatsoever. She could have countered that, obviously, but she didn't. She knew she went too far. She's done. She's toast. Even with her 100% support for the Ukraine cause, Ukraine cause, the same group's cause anyway, you never contradict them, especially at that level. They were telling you the truth, man. They were showing you evidence. That's exactly what happened. He yelled at her. She went in her pussy corner over there and she realized, I fucked up. Next, German foreign minister. Now we see how low these guys are going to slide now. I mean, this is pretty low. She's lower than Blinken. You know why? Because she's loud. She says Blinken. I think Blinken's a notch above him. He should be, but he's not. I mean, Blinkenstein should be, but he's not. I don't know how. But somehow he's not. But she is lower, but she's loud, which makes her even lower. And we have have many sayings in Romania, and one of them is this: "Dacă tăceai, filozof rămâneai." That is, if you kept silent, people would take you, or you could pass as a philosopher. But you spoke up. You said something. When you said something, you realize you're a dumbass. So they don't know who you are. They don't know how dumb you are or how smart. So they can, oh, look at this philosopher. He's thoughtful. Okay, the same. Baerbock is, well, she touched the untouchable. So she got fucked. And she's out. Bye-bye. Auf Wiedersehen, meine Liebste. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.